All right, welcome back. We're going to start now. In the next part, we're going to build the next section of our landing page of the Workit landing page, which is this one here. This is like the features area, I guess we'll call it, where it tells you the features of the product. And it's pretty simple. It's just got a little off-white background, 3 sections, and that same curve that we put on the header is also down here. So the good news with that is we can just copy and paste that curve code and just change the fill color so that it'll look identical to that, and we don't gotta go through all that trouble we went the first time making it with the header. So that's the good thing about coding, is you can always reuse code that you've done before, and that reusing code and copy pasting code is the secret to how some freelance web developers make hundreds of thousands of dollars by themselves. Because what they do is they target companies that want similar products. They've already built a certain page that a company wants a million times. They copy paste the code to get a boilerplate. They'll change the colors and the images and a couple things around, and charge them about $5,000 for the job that they got done in like 1 or 2 days, and be on their way. So that's how you do it, man. You wanna make money as a freelance web dev. Learn how to reuse every little piece of code you can, and not just freelancing. I mean, that's just the 3 most important rules of coding is reuse, reuse, and reuse. Reuse as much code as you can. So we're going to do that here. So let's go ahead and get started building that section out. So I guess we'll call it features. So I'm going to go below all of our header code, and I'm going to make the next section, I'm going to call it section with my HTML to be semantic. That's called semantic HTML. You want to use tags that actually describe what the next part is, and that the proper one here would be called section. And then we'll give it an ID of features. And let's see. We'll go ahead and we'll go to our CSS immediately and make that style the background and the height. And I'm going to pretty much copy the height and everything from our header just to keep the page consistent. And, we've already written the code, so why reinvent the wheel? So I'm going to copy these 3 things and paste them in our features area. So let's go down here. This is below our header text and above our media queries. Say features. And we'll say select the feature area with our ID hashtag features. And then we'll copy paste that stuff. And style it up. So we're going to get rid of that color white because the text is not going to be white on this section. And then now we got to change that background color because now it just thinks that the whole thing is this color because we left it the same background color. That's why that happened. So let's change the background color to that off-white color. So let's go to our design, copy paste that. So we'll scroll over. And that off-white color is this code, or this hex code right here. Copy that. And paste that in our code. Just get back here. Okay, and let's make this the background color now. Okay, there we go. Let's see how that looks. That's good. So now we got to give this area, see, I got rid of our curve because now this is like on top of it, I think, or pushed it up. So we're going to give it some margin top to push it down, and so it's not sitting over our curved area. So let's say margin top, say 10 rem just to see what that does. There it is, and that'll be good. We don't want it to be exactly 10 rem. Let's go into our developer tools and see what it should be. Let's get out of mobile. Okay, section ID features is selected, so now let's change it So as you can see, like when we actually move this up like it's supposed to be, now it's sitting on top of our header and it's getting rid of the curve. So we don't want that. So what we have to do is we have to put some code in to make our header sit on top of any element that tries to go underneath it so that it doesn't get cut off. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the header and we're going to give it a Z index, which again, that controls what sits on top of what. 0 is the default, meaning that it won't sit on top of anything. 1 will make it sit on top of everything else. So Z index of 1. And now let's use that margin top. And that should work. There you go. See, now it's just going under there. Perfect. So margin top 1 rem. That's what that should be. So let's go down here and save that into our features code. Margin top 1 rem. That should fix it. Very nice. There you go. So now we're going to go ahead and make, I guess we'll put the curve in for the features area first, like we did with the header, just to make sure we get that out of the way in case something goes wrong. So let's take this, all this code here, and copy it, paste it. So now we're going to change this to features wave instead of hero wave. So features wave. You know what? Actually, we don't have to really do that. We could keep the hero wave class here. And we could change this class that says shape fill to feature fill, features fill, and just change that. Because that's the only part that really controls the color. Everything else can be the same, and that's fine. So let's do that. So see our bottom, we have the curve now, but now we're going to select the features fill class. Let me show you. If it's kind of confusing, I'll show you what I mean. So going up here, hero wave dot shape fill. This one right here is the only one that controls the color of the wave. So let's say, what do we call it? Feature fill. We should be able to just use feature fill here, that new class that I created, and make it that off color, that off-white color, and it should match up perfectly. So let's see. That, and then we'll say this color. Oh, what is that? Is that a background? Or no, it's fill, right? Let's see. Fill, okay. So we'll say fill, features fill, and then the attribute is fill, and then that. Okay, let's see. That work? Hey, it worked. And then we didn't have to make any more changes or code. Cool. All right, so got that out of the way. See how easy that was, guys? And now all those styles are going to come over without us writing like any more additional code, which is awesome. Love coding. That's my favorite part about coding is you can just reuse. Once you do something once, you really never have to do it from scratch again. If you save your code snippets and you have a GitHub account and all that, you can just reuse. I reuse code from projects that I built when I was very first learning how to code, like the first 2 weeks. I still use snippets from that for my original learning because I don't, again, trying to remember everything in coding is just not possible. All right, so now that we got the curve, I think we should start doing the sections here, this 1, 2, 3 area. So the cool thing about this code is we only have to build this section one time because it has all the same stuff, and then we can copy paste the other 2 sections and then just fill in the details. So again, we're going to be able to reuse a lot of code here. That's going to make this process go way faster than up here where we couldn't really do that. Everything was unique up here and had different styling, so that took a while. But luckily this isn't, so let's go ahead and start building this out here. Go back to our code, and I'll make this smaller so you can see it update in real time. Okay, so we'll go to our features area. That's the hero wave. So we're going to say above the hero wave, or the wave, because remember the wave is on the bottom. We're going to put everything else on top of it. So we'll put our container class dot container, and that'll just give everything the padding on the sides. And then I'm going to make another div called features flex container. Okay. And that's going to be a container just for the features that I'm going to use Flexbox on to set them side by side, the 1, 2, 3 side by side. So now we're going to just do another container. We're going to start building out our each feature now. Okay. And we're just going to call each div that we're going to give it the class of feature and copy paste it. So I'll say dot feature. And then what do we have with that feature? Let's see. So we're going to have like 3 more areas. So one of them is going to be a div called number. So we'll say div feature number, or dot, we'll say dot feature number. And that'll already make a div for us. And then you can put like a 1 in there. Actually, we'll put the number in like a paragraph. There we go. And that way we're going to end up making this feature number div. We're going to use CSS to make it a circle. We're going to make this circle with pure CSS and then just have the number in there in a paragraph. And we'll center the number in there with Flexbox as well. So there's feature number. And then below it, there's a heading. So probably like an H2. Put H2s on there. And the first one's called actionable insights. So we'll go H2. Actionable insights. Okay, and then below that is just a paragraph. So we'll say P and copy paste that. And I'm going to give this a class in case we have to style it by itself later. We have to just select this paragraph because we already have a paragraph in here, so I can't just say P if I'm going to use selectors. Now I have to have a class on here. And I'm pretty sure we're going to have to style this text on its own. So we'll say feature P. Yeah. And then for up here, we can just give a class if we want. We don't need to actually because I don't think we're going to be touching that. That's just going to be there in the paragraph. So yeah, so that's one feature right there. And now we're going to copy paste this code down 2 more times. So I'm going to hit Shift Option on my Mac keyboard and the down arrow, and that's going to copy it once. And then I'm going to hit hold Shift Option and the down arrow all at the same time 1 more time. Now I should have 3. There we go. So they're stacking 1, 2, 3. And then if you're not on VS Code, just copy paste 2 more down. Do what you got to do, but copy that code. And now what we're going to do is we're going to fill in the information for each one. So actionable insights, the first one is already completed. Now let's go down to the second one. It's going to have the number 2. And the heading for the second one is... See, I can't copy paste that, but it's data-driven decisions. So we'll just write that out. Data-driven decisions. I hate how that's not capitalized, but that's the design. Bothers me. All right, we'll get this paragraph in here where it belongs. Okay. And then the last one will be number 3. And the heading for that one is always affordable. Okay, always affordable. And then we'll grab the paragraph for that one, copy paste it in here. Cool. Now we can... I want to bring this down from here because we have to use like margin or padding on the top to bring it down so it's out of the way of this thing. Remember, this is positioned to absolute, so our document is just ignoring that this exists altogether. That's why that's like that. So we're going to push it. We're going to push this down and then flex it side by side. So let's go to our CSS and we'll push it down by selecting features flex container. Guess we'll use that. We'll say dot features flex container. Let's say padding top. I think we'll use padding because margin will push the whole thing down. We just want to push it down within that within our features container. We don't want to completely, if you use margin, it'll completely detach one element for the other. So let's say padding top 15 rem just to see what that does. There we go. Yeah, it's padding. So we'll do more. See how it looks full screen. And let's see how big the gap is on the design. That's a pretty big gap. So maybe like 25 rem. And we'll have to probably make this taller. That's okay. Yeah, that's about the gap that's there. So let's make, I wonder if I can change this height to a percentage instead of a pixel. See, 100%. That work? Yes, it does. There we go, 100%. So we just use a percentage there. We said, hey, we want this thing to be 100% tall or in other words, make this as tall as it needs to be to fit all of my content. That's what the 100% is telling the browser. Now let's see if I can put some padding bottom because it stops here, but then there's like a lot of padding on the bottom. So let's say padding bottom 8 rem. See what that does. Yep, gives us a good amount. That's good. I'm happy with that 8 rem right now. So we'll go ahead and use our flex box to put these side by side now. So let's go to our features flex container. Let me make this smaller so you can kind of see them go side by side. I'm going to say display flex, align items center, and justify content center. So that says display flex, put them side by side, align them center vertically, and align them center horizontally. So put them side by side within the container in the center of my page. So let's hit save. There you go. Let's see how it looks on full screen. Not bad. So now we're going to style the numbers, the 1, 2, 3. They have that circle around them that we're going to make, and I think they're a little bit bigger font. So we'll do a bigger font. We'll put a circle around them, and we'll center them within the circle. So let's go. Let's get our feature number container. That's the one that holds the number that we're going to make the circle. So dot feature number. And we're going to give the feature number div a height and a width. And we're going to base that off of the design. So the design, just click into here. And it says this circle is 56 by 56. So we'll say width 56 pixels. And height 56 pixels. And then you can't see it because we need to give a border. We're going to put border on there, and then it'll show 56 by 56. That'll just show like a square. So you're going to see a square appear when we give it a border. So let's say border 1 pix solid, and the border is that dark purple color that we used in the header. There's the square. Okay. Now we're going to change that square into a circle by using the border radius property. And whenever you want to make a border, using border radius, whenever you want to make something that has a height and a width circle, you say border radius 50%. There, now we have our circle. And now we have to use flexbox within our circle container to center this number dead center. So whenever within an element, okay, you can have anything in a div, and how flexbox works was if you have a height and width on it on an element, you can use flexbox if there's something nested inside the element to center it dead center. That's like one of the little flexbox tricks that makes developing way easier than using like position absolute and all that. So we'll say display flex, align item center, and justify content center. So center it horizontally and vertically. So we're saying anything that's within this feature number div, which is the paragraph, be dead center of the element horizontally and vertically and stay there. So let's hit save and watch that happen. Boom, that's how you do it. All right, so now we have to we'll make our, I think, is the text align centered? Yeah. So we'll make our feature box text align center to center all the text. So just dot feature. So we'll put that up here, dot feature. And we'll say text align center. Now everything is centered, but our number circle didn't get centered because we put a width on it. And that's the same reason why, remember we put a width on our heading text that we had to keep adjusting. And we had to put a width on it so that the letters stacked on top of each other up here. And then it made it go over here. But how we fixed it, how we put it back center where it should be, is we used margin auto. So we're going to use that on here. So let's go to our feature number. And we'll say margin 0 auto. And that should put it center where it should be. There it is. That centered it. Okay. And then let's see. Instead of margin 0 auto, we might want to put this to like, there's quite the gap between the numbers and the heading in the design. That's a pretty large gap right there. So we might actually want to do longhand. So say margin 0 rem, because that's top. The first one is top. The second one is right, which we're going to put to auto. The third one is bottom. So we'll put 3 rem bottom and then auto again for left. So when you're doing shorthand anything, it's always top, right. It goes clockwise. So top, right, bottom, left. So that should keep it in the center and then push that heading down, which it did. And it looks like, honestly, like that's not even big enough. I'll go 4 rem. I'm not going to go higher than that. It's a really big gap. There, that looks more like it. Cool. And now we're going to style the H2. So we'll say dot feature H2. Dot feature H2. And we'll give it, let's see, what is the text size for this? Let's see if it'll tell us. 32 pixels. Okay, so we'll say font size 32. 2 pixels. And then we have to push our paragraph down from it. There's a gap there. I'll call that 2 rem. Say margin bottom 2 rem. Looks good. And then we got our paragraph text, which is fine. It should be 18 pixels when it already is, because we did that with our global styles in the beginning. Let's see, is there more of a gap to each one? Not really. They're pretty close together. It looks like there's a little bit of padding on each paragraph in between here. So let's do... I'll just select all the features, I guess. So dot feature and say padding 0, 1 rem left and right. Maybe 2 rem. Three rem. There we go. That looks more like the design. Yeah. That's it. Looks a lot more like the design. There's more of a gap though in ours, but that's okay. I think that looks good. And then we'll have to adjust that when we go mobile because it's probably going to mess up everything else. But that's it for the desktop part of this. I wonder, let me go here. Let me just try something on the font weight. Because the font still doesn't look like it's supposed to for some reason. Is this a thing? No. Maybe it does. Maybe it's just the... Yeah. I don't know. It's so annoying. But, yeah. So that's the desktop version of this. The mobile version for tablet for this section gets a little annoying because we're going to have to change it so that these are side by side, which is going to require me to probably write a block of code just for tablet and then display that other code none. But that's fine. We'll do that. And then it's easy on mobile to do this mobile, so that won't take long. We're just going to do tell Flexbox to stack these on top of each other. So we'll do that in the next video. I don't want these videos to all be super long, so and stick around for the next one when I release it. We'll make this responsive. So we'll stop here for now. And when we come back, we'll make this responsive on all devices just like we did to the header.